I was with the General Secretary, Tamcho Yongdu. We were sent down with by His Holiness a few days earlier to make all the logistic arrangements because for the ceremony itself. The chief guest was the President of India, Mr. Reddy, if I remember correctly. Then I remember going to the airport to receive His Holiness, who arrived maybe a day before I think the ceremony was that evening before the ceremony. And we were, of course, allowed to go right to the airport, and His Holiness was stepped down from the ramp of the airplane and ushered into the vehicle. And I remember Gyatso Rinpoche was, I overheard it like he was saying, Gyatso Rinpoche is very, very spontaneous. Again, he's not, he'll just speak his mind, and he's very enlightened. So he's got just uninhibited yogic, personality. I think His Holiness had instructed, basically, not to tell the General Secretary or us that he was not well. What I overheard them say was that His Holiness had thrown up, just before he boarded the aeroplane, maybe, and he had thrown up a lot of, sound like ulcer kind of, aftermath, like a basin full. And then His Holiness, I remember, was just saying, "Don't let him do that. Didn't I tell you not to say don't?" Something like that. And then, of course, I asked, and we found out that basically he was not well. But the ceremony had to go on. Literally, it was of course very important. It was a historic proportion. And then I remember that I had to tell Mr. Kampani, who was the additional secretary, chief point man from the government of India, because we were debating, if I remember correctly, I don't remember all that very well, but with the General Secretary and all, we were all debating how to, take care of the situation. And I think General Secretary's point of view was that, look, His Holiness is Buddha. He has control with his life. He has control on his own being. We don't have to panic. We don't have to do anything. If someone says, there's nothing to do. So he was he was on that kind of posture. And we were sort of saying, well, yes, he's a Buddha, but he's not well, and there's no harm in getting that to the medical attention, all India, medical hospitals attention. So I remember going back and forth, and finally we did tell the President of India, Mr. Kampani, that His Holiness was not well. So they already made arrangements so that he would be admitted to the hospital right after the ceremony. That was tough. On the ceremony, His Holiness could hardly stand there. I think it was through his own willpower that he was able to, stand there and give his speech. I had my, because I did His Holiness gave his speech in Tibetan, and we had already translated it into English. So my job was to, read that in English. If I remember now, there was a debate whether His Holiness should seek medical attention right away. All right. I know the debate was going back and forth, like I told you, with the General Secretary, because he was the principal man. He made a lot of the decisions. If I remember correctly, we didn't go entirely, with the wishes of the General Secretary, because I think General Secretary was either trying to, he genuinely meant it. He had so much faith that His Holiness can do what he wants. So he wasn't. So that was sort of his stand, and then all of us and talking to, because of course it's a critical information for the government of India, because the Karmapa is a major, personality, in their point of view. So I felt it was very important as my job to at least let them be aware of the situation. So I remember we actually, I think, met the president And I remember interpreting the president's word, as being a very educated and skilled, leader, like Indian leader. They're very skillful in using indirect examples of why His Holiness should get medical attention. And basically his message was, and then B.B. Lal, we contacted the governor, and of course the Sikkim House officers were there, and but we had direct talk with the president's office in Kampani, and their main message was, Your Holiness, you have to be on this earth for the benefit of sentient beings. So sentient beings need your help. So you got to take the medical treatment and find out what's going on, because it's to benefit the whole, So when that's right. Then we were going through all this thing, and finally when it came from the office of the President of India, then I think the General Secretary or anybody couldn't say it, you had to say yes. So they had already prepared everything for All India Medical Institute Hospital. So His Holiness, I remember that I was afraid that I think it's through his sheer willpower that he was able to complete the morning ceremony. Now, this is a very important part of the oral history. I was among the first to know that he had actually cancer. It was just, we had the ceremony, it was incredible. President came, everybody's there, every representation from Tibetan societies. It was just a very incredible ceremony for the land, okay. Rushed off to the hospital. The best medical people, of course, attended on him. And I was the first conduit. I'm his English secretary, so they would connect me before anybody. So there was, I'm trying to remember his name, gentleman from Sikkim House, the political officer was there, and then the doctors, did the surgery and checked it out, and they were just like, we can't believe that he's alive, it's just incredible. So, and they did the test, and they found out that it was cancer.